Hey everyone, Wideck welcoming you to Game 6 of a Best of 7 series from the Dreamhack Winter 2013 Grand Final. And this time on Shir Vestige, we've got spawning in the bottom right as the red Zerg. You'll have to find a way to win this one to have a chance of winning the whole thing by forcing a deciding Game 7. Representing Team Startale, we have Life. And his opponent spawning in the top left as the blue Terran. And he has a 3-2 series lead. Representing Team Liquid, we have Taeja. So this may very well be the final game in the series. I keep forgetting to mention that I really think it's really nice, this Team Liquid icon with that horse. I think that's really good. The Startale logo is also quite cool as well. I like the mouse, the little yellow mouse. I think that's really cool. But anyways, back to the game. As I was mentioning, this is going to be match point for Taeja, so if he can defeat Life here, he will take the prize home, and it's over 30,000 US. So this is not a small prize, nothing to sneeze at. And at the same time, I mean, Life really needs to buckle down here. He's already taken 2 games from his opponent, something it didn't look like he might be able to do at all, since he did lose 2-0 to Taeja earlier in the winners final before bouncing back through the losers final to get to the grand final. And while I'm saying that, it looks like we do have a very fast drone scout by Life, able to see that SCV and picking away at its armor. It looks like another SCV is going to have to be pulled off the line by Taeja. And remember, drones do regenerate life. So if that drone does come back, he might be able to get a few kills here if Taeja's not careful. You know, it looks like that drone is going to come back for more blood. But that second reinforcing SCV is going to push that drone away. And now it's going to be really up to Life if he wants to keep that drone in that base. You can see if he keeps the drone here, the supply depot might come up and catch that drone instead. That drone is going to be able to escape. Now, we do have a Reaper coming out of that barracks once again from Taeja, so it seems like every single time Taeja is opting for that Reaper first build. And it might pay off once again, as it has in previous games, but Life is getting that early gas. Looks like Life is changing up his tactics a little bit. In most of the games prior, in the losers final and in the grand final here, he's generally opted for hatchery first and then going for like a third hatchery or not getting gas. But this time he is going to have early gas. So I suspect once he gets 100, we are going to see Zergling speed being researched immediately. And that should really cut down on that Reaper harass. We don't have 100 gas as of yet, 88.92. But at the same time, that Reaper has already reached the destination of the Zerg homeland. And now it looks like that drone is not going to go to waste. It's going to form that second extractor. Now, this Reaper has to be very careful, because if Taeja is careless and goes directly into the drone patch, it's very easy for the drones to circle and destroy the Reaper. The Reaper has to be very careful. The Reaper is taking some damage here, and he does have 1 kill, able to pick off a drone, so at least that Reaper has been able to pick off a drone. Looks like a Zergling will go down here as well, so this Reaper is doing quite a good job harassing and depleting some of Life's units. But with those queens popping out, that should end that Reaper harass, at least for the time being. I don't think this Reaper is going to be able to do too much. Even though the queen is off the creep, you have to remember they do have a lot of range, so that Reaper is going to have to backtrack. And Life is going to be able to stabilize onto bases. And with that Zergling speed almost completed, the Reapers are not going to be able to do too much damage from this point forward. But we do have Hellions coming up online from Taeja, so it looks like we're going to see Reapers and Hellions once again. And it just seems like a very, very basic game coming from both players. Neither player is really doing anything really different. What might be different here if Taeja wanted to try to make this short game is if he had some medevacs and if he tried to drop on his Zerg opponent, but I don't think that is going to occur. Looks like we are going to be seeing Banshees instead. So this is a little bit different from Taeja. Now, while that is going on, Life has put down his third hatchery. And he really needs to get that creep spread going both ways. We do have two queens here. I think once they get the 25 energy, the creep tumors are going to be plopped down. Not as of yet, with the third queen reinforcing this position. There we go. More creep tumors. That's totally what life needs. Now, from Taeja's perspective, he's going to want to try and do some harassment with these Hellions and Reapers. He's going to try to find some stray Zerglings or drones or creep tumors. Now, he's been able to spot that third hatchery, and because he attacked it, Life knows that Taeja knows that the third base is there. So maybe a slight misclick by Taeja having that Hellion attack that hatchery. It's probably better to not have your opponent know that you know his third base is there. But we are having a run-by of 6 Hellions with 2 Reapers. Now, we do have 3 Queens reinforcing this position, but is that going to be enough? We do have a 4th one pulled up from the southern area of the map. This should be enough to quell this Hellion uprising. We also have a Banshee in the fray as well. I think the Banshee is going to go for a detour around, but we do have quite a few Overlords. But it looks like the Reapers are going to be the meat shield, at least temporarily. But it looks like Taeja is going to back off, at least for the moment. At the same time, Life's third hatchery is now up and running. But we do have that Hellion heading for that main base, but the Spore Crawler is almost finished. This Banshee is not going to be able to do much damage. In fact, it's only able to kill 2 drones, and now that Banshee is going to have to retreat. At the same time, we do have a small pack of Zerglings moving near the east side of the map, and it looks like it might be going for a secret attack against Taeja's natural. Unfortunately, it is blocked off, but that command center will be spotted. And, oh, great micro by Taeja protecting that SCV, moving it into that command center, not even losing that SCV. So great control by both players. And now these Zerglings are going to get cut down by the Hellions. And so 5 of those roasted, very, very tasty Zerglings are going to go down. And those Hellions are not satisfied. They're looking for more Zergling wings to put on their platter tonight. But they have to be very careful here, otherwise the Queens and the Zerglings might be able to surround. But it looks like Taeja has been able to quell the Zerglings, at least temporarily. Now you do have to remember, Taeja is being very aggressive here. And when you're being aggressive, it means that you're making the opponent react to you. And depending on the style of play that you're used to, or depending on the kind of game you want to play, this may be an advantage or disadvantage. But generally, just like in any sport, like in basketball or in soccer, in hockey, you'd rather be at your opponent's side of the field, in your opponent's side of the field, than your side of the field, or of the rink, or whatever you're playing in. So you generally want to be on the offense more than you want to be on the defense. Now, it looks like Life is going to go for a small counterattack here, but we do have lots of Marines here, and these Zerglings are not going to be able to do too much. And they're not actually able to confirm that position of that third orbital command either. I think it can be reasonably assumed there is a third base up because of the positioning of the SEV. So Life probably can presume there is a mining base here. But that doesn't matter to Taeja. He is going to be moving across the map. He has 2 attacks. So he has one on the left side of the map and one on the right side. So the left side has Marines, which are generally more potent overall to most units. On the right side, we have the harassing band of Hellions and Reapers doing damage to that hatchery. So it looks like Life will not be able to deflect both attacks. He'll only be able to deflect that one attack. And unfortunately, this hatchery is going to go down. Or are we going to get the cancel? No cancel! So going to lose 300 minerals for that hatchery, plus another 50 for that drone. So that's going to be a big loss for Life. You take a look at resources lost, it's quite substantial for a Zerg player. And at the same time, Taeja is moving to the west side of the map, but the Zerglings are in position. But unfortunately, they are getting cut down by those stimmed Marines, and now those Marines are stimming forward onto that creep. You have to be very careful as a Terran player whenever you engage the Zerg players on creep, but able to take down one Queen, able to put the scan down as well, able to clean up a lot of creep tumors. So Life is now going to have to retreat, it looks like. The supplies are favoring our Terran player as well, but the Hellions are getting cut down by the remaining Zerglings on the right side of the map, and I don't think the Reapers or the Hellions are going to survive. So at least one small annoying attack force is going to be cleaned up by Life. But I think Taeja, even though he lost quite a few resources there, look at how many resources Life has lost compared to Taeja. And remember, Life doesn't have an additional base either. And as a Zerg player, When you're playing against non-Zerg players, the rule of thumb is you always want to be one base up on your opponent to have a chance. So Life really needs to get this 4th base up and running, or he really needs to cut down one of these bases. But Taeja's wall off is almost finished here, and Life, even though he does have the Mutalisk ready now, he doesn't have a lot of Banelings to support. He only has 12 Banelings. That could be enough with 12 Mutalisks. But it looks like Taeja has sensed the Mutalisks are coming. He is going to be moving back to protect his natural. And now the Mutalisks have been spotted. He knows exactly where they are. But with the Widow Mines joining the fight, these Mutalisks have to be very, very diligent. Otherwise, they may get cut down very easily. At the same time, the Widow Mine able to get 7 kills on the right side of the map. So Taeja getting quite a few free kills. At the same time, we do have a drop at that new forming 4th base. The Mutalisks have been flown in there to deal with the small marauding group of Marines. The medevac will go down as well, but this hatchery is going to get canceled. So once again, Life not getting that 4th base up in time. And the resources lost, even though it is evening out, the Zerg player is not able to generally mine as efficiently as the Terran player. And it looks like the Marines are going to go in for more blood. The Zerglings are going to be able to surround, but they are picked up immediately by that medevac. And it looks like Life is going to give up on the 4th base on the east side of the map. He's going to go for the west side instead. And now we do have an attack by the Mutalisks charging forward. Generally, you want the Zerglings in there first. The Mutalisks are being focused on by the Marines. Now, there are a lot of Banelings rolling here and not that many Zerglings. But now they've been able to go around through the north. They're going to be able to focus down on these SCVs, but the SCVs are fleeing, and now the Marines are able to destroy almost all the Banelings with almost no losses, only 1 Marine going down, and at the same time, Taeja is going to be able to get his 3-3 upgrades, as 3-3 is currently being researched, and Life is still stuck on 2-2, and his Mutalisks only have +1 attack and 0 armor. So once again, Taeja is getting the upgrade advantage, and he's sticking with it. So Life really has an uphill battle to climb. In a few other games previously, Life had a larger army, but it didn't matter because his upgrades were so far behind. Now the wall off is going to finally go down. The bunker does get destroyed quite handedly. Quite a few Marines do go down from that Baneling connection, but it looks like these Banelings aren't going to be able to get much more out of this attack. Finishing off a few Widow Mines and a supply depot, but that's generally not what you want to aim for with Banelings, and now it looks like Life is going to have to fall back. Now, he is getting 34 more Zerglings from those eggs, but he really doesn't have any. He has actually 0 Banelings currently. He's getting 8 more, but without those Banelings, even though he has a supply advantage, Taeja is going to be able to rampage through here quite well. He's going to put the scan down, able to clean up 5 tumors. At the same time, Life is going to go for attack at the natural. There's nothing in that bunker. The production facilities are going to be under attack, as well as the SCVs. This is where Life can do some substantial damage. Able to pick apart some of those SCVs, excuse me, and now they're in the main production area, focusing down on those SCVs as well. Losses are mounting up for both sides, and now Life has that 4th base up as well, but the Marines are going to be able to stem in here and scare away this large flock of Mutalisks. And this is where you have to be careful as a Zerg player, because if you try to fly here, they're going to get shot at, yes. So an Overseer does pop, and it looks like the Mutalisks are going to be able to scoot away, and now there's a 30 supply advantage for Life, and he's got 2 roaming attack squads. One here on the left with quite a few Banelings and Zerglings and Mutalisks, and one on the right composed only of Zerglings and Banelings. And with that 4th base up and running, it looks like Life might be able to strike a very, very good blow here. Unfortunately, this 3rd base of Taeja is going to be well protected by all these Marines, so Life is going to have to back off at least temporarily. He is going to charge in here. The Banelings don't get any good connections, and the Marines are taking pot shots freely at those Mutalisks, and both players are opting to retreat. At the same time, even though there are some great Baneling connections, not a lot of lost units for Taeja at the natural. So Taeja is wising up, protecting his natural as well as his 3rd. And now it looks like this 4th base of Life is going to be under attack. It has been spotted by the Marines. At the same time, we do have a huge attack by Life. Rolling with those Banelings. Not very good connections. The Marines have been spread apart quite well. And now it's just Marines against Mutalisks. And Marines are very good, but there's just so many Mutalisks in this flock. We've got 23 on the map. 4 more on the way, but the Marines are coming in to reinforce his natural position. At the same time, the 4th base of Life is under attack, so we've got action on both sides of the map. Now, it looks like the fourth base is not going to be able to survive. The Marines are stimming and doing substantial damage. At the same time, looks like Life has been able to clean up most of those Marines while he's been attacking. But he loses his fourth base, and he didn't mind that much from it. So once again, I think Life is going to be hurting here. Now, just a few minutes ago, Life was up by 30 supply, and now he's down by about 15. And remember, most of this supply is occupied by 0-1 Mutalisk. So this is not a very good sign for Life. Able to take down 2 medevacs. And you can't ever discount that. But without that fourth base, Life is really, really going to be hurting here. And it looks like another Mutalisk does go down for the low price of a few Marines. Those Widow Mines haven't charged up yet, but the Widow Mines, are they going to be able to get a connection? No. So Life is able to clean up 2 Widow Mines as well. So I think that was a pretty good encounter for Life. But the resources lost is telling a very horrible story for our Zerg player. And once again, that fourth base is still not up and running. And Taeja's army is very, very scary, especially with those 3-3 upgrades, especially with so many Widow Mines and Medevacs. And it looks like Life is going to go for another attack at that natural base. At the same time, we do have a Medevac full of Marines going to the third base of Life. So attacks happening on both sides of the map at both bases. This attack is going to get cleaned up by Taeja quite easily. And it looks like this drop of 8 Marines by this Medevac will be cleaned up quite handedly as well. So both player drops are not very effective. We still have Zerglings in the main base of Taeja, but that is going to get cleaned up eventually by those Marines. And now the Zerglings are going to be able to do some damage here, focusing down on that missile turret. The SCVs are prone, but the Marines have been stemmed back as reinforcements to clean up these Zerglings. So both players are pecking away at each other at their economic core. I'm not sure. And there we are. The scan does go down. Taeja is able to confirm that Life does have a fourth base. Now, even though Taeja, I think, is in a pretty good position compared to his Zerg opponent, he's running out of minerals at his third. He's almost out at his second, and he's out at his first. So he's going to be floating his command center to that fourth location, and he really needs that. Now, what Life could do to really get back in this game is if he can blow up this orbital command. If he can stabilize on this fourth base and blow up this orbital command, Life is really back in this game. If he can't blow up the orbital command, he's going to have to be able to protect his fourth and his fifth base that he hasn't built yet. So I think Life is in a very precarious situation. He loses a couple mutas and overseers for nothing. And now it looks like Taeja is going to rampage forward. The scan does go down, able to clean up a lot of those creep tumors. He sees all the baneling eggs as well. And it looks like that fourth hatchery is going to go down once again. So Taeja is just constantly attacking the economic base of Life. And he doesn't have enough minerals to really fight back. So it's very, very bad news for Life. He's done everything as much as he possibly could. And now, with Taeja mining from that fourth base, we've got so many mules here. We've got 9 mules in this base. It's going to be nearly impossible for Life to come back. I know the supplies are fairly even, but Marines do take up quite a bit of that. And with no overseers here, the Widow Mines are going to be able to kill 2 Mutalisks for nothing. And the Mutalist army is basically very weak. So I'm not sure why Life is flying around with Mutalisks with no overseers, no detection. So Taeja must be very happy about that. Very unfortunate for Life. He's lost 10,000 more resources than his Terran opponent. And his fourth base is only half finished. Now we do have an attack of Banelings rolling into that fourth base. Great micro by Taeja, not losing that many Marines at the same time. Taeja is going to be moving across the map to the west side, focusing down on that extractor as well as that creep tumors. The drones are getting blown up as well. The Marines are stimming forward. And wouldn't you be a confident bunch with 3-3 weapons and 3-3 armor against 0-1 Mutalisks? Very poor connections again by Life. And the supply is going to be precipitously dropping for our Zerg player. The third hatchery will finally go down. The Spine Crawlers finished first. And there we go. Now Life is not mining basically from any bases. Look at the mineral difference. I think Taeja's basically at the finish line. I don't think there's anything Life can really do. Take a look at that supply dip. Life is going to try and use his Mutalisks for one last defensive posture, but I don't think they're going to hold very well against this flock of Marines. Excuse me. I don't think the Mutalisks are going to do very well, and Life is going to tap out. So Taeja is going to take it in very impressive and very... He just played flawlessly throughout the entire tournament. He just played so well. He didn't give Life really any opportunity. Every time Life tried to build this 4th base, the first time it was finished, he blew it up right away when no drones are there. The second time, it was like half finished, he forced to cancel. Then, Life built it on the west side of the map, was able to mine from it just a little bit, and then blew it up immediately as well. And so Life was just not able to get that 4th base. And like I said, the golden rule when you're a Zerg player playing against a non-Zerg player, you need one more base over your non-Zerg opponent. Life wasn't able to sustain that. So Taeja able to defeat Life in the winners final 2-0, and in the grand final 4-2 in this best of 7. So Taeja is going to take home over $30,000 US. So congratulations to Taeja, and he's been playing really well. So kudos to him. Kudos to Life as well. A great runner-up, was able to defeat basically everybody, but he just ran into the brick wall of Taeja and wasn't able to get his revenge on him this time. But a great tournament, and congratulations to Taeja, and I hope to see you guys next time.